Back? Yeah? Great. Yeah, sorry for the slight delay. We'll get started. So, welcome all of you to this breakout on open networks. What we are planning to do is broadly in three parts. The first part you will all listen to some transformation stories which have happened in the various personas like auto driver, security guard, and such personas. A lot of the 5-6 speakers will come and give the transformation story. Uh, while we are hearing those stories, please note down what is the kind of aha. If any questions you have, please note it down. Uh, Once those are done, we will what we will do is in the room we will ask all of you to think about similar stories in your context, in your organization, which are incomplete stories because some challenges which exist. And those challenges, if addressed via open networks or even leveraging the other AI aspects or lifelong learning, uh, if resolved, then the stories can get completed, the transformation journey can get completed. And in the end, we will go and talk about a little way forward. So with that, not wasting any more time, I am initially calling Suren to slightly take some time and demystify a little bit of what open network is so that we are all on the same page, and then we'll get into the transformation talks. Suren?
Thanks, Anand. I think it feels like I'm preaching to the choir because we heard a lot of the open network today in some shape and form. We heard Adil speak about the information asymmetry that plagues the whole gig economy when he spoke about supercharging gig economy for the digital world and how we can bring in cost efficiencies through an approach like an open network. He said it in a talk at him. He didn't really mention open network, but his topic was almost circling around the same topic. We also heard Ashley speak about innovation by the market, where it's not monopolistic and we don't have to get into antitrust behavior, but it's a more competitive, healthy ecosystem that thrives. I think that also hints at the presence of a network somewhere that she just didn't bring out. We heard, then finally Ashish talk about the missing middle, which is why we are all here, to make sure the missing middle comes and the network thrives. The network is all about the ecosystem and the participants on the network, not much about the network itself. That's how internet is invisible to us, yet we're all connected to it. Right? That's what the network is. So I'll just briefly touch upon. Right. So I'll briefly touch upon one of a new initiative that ASTEP is working upon, which is the Open Networks for Education and Skilling Transactions, where the vision is to provide a fair, accessible, decentralized network, enabling individuals and organizations to unleash their full potential and seamlessly access learning and livelihood opportunities. And many of these words, if you recall, were referred to during the vision talks today. Everyone spoke about access, innovation, inclusion, and more about this. Right? And of course, we have many more speakers today at the transformation talks, touching upon and bringing this to life. Just to quickly touch upon, platforms today, the world as we see it, they are creating silos of information and access, where fragmentation and inequities still persist, right? Because everybody gets locked into the platform. As Mr. Kosh was mentioning, when somebody wants to get onto a platform, they have to agree to the terms of the platform. That's what the world today looks like. But the providers and seekers, instead of them benefiting and having the value gets stored in the platform. Whereas the world we envision now is from store of value to flow of value, where the value flows between the providers and seekers. And they gain the maximum, while the network is cost efficient and is reducing inequities, promoting higher volume of transactions across the spectrum, and not just limited to the 6 or 10% of the market, which is what the platforms are able to capture. And with that, the Honest today is launched in 4 categories to start with. Learning experiences of any type, courses, trainings, content, stories, AR, VR, boot camps, hackathons, any form of learning experience. Financial support could be scholarships, grants, any other form of financial aid to help someone learn and access an opportunity. Work opportunities of various types, from formal work to internships to gig economy, the way Mr. Adil was referring to. And finally, expert connect, where expertise is not only researchers or academicians, but even expertise which is locked on the ground, like a farmer knowing how to toil the land better. Also, being able to bring that onto the network and make it accessible to everyone. So that's what the Honest initiative is.
Thanks, Suren. So, key thing which I would like everyone to remember is that Honest is not a platform, right? Any open network which you think of, don't think of it as a platform or an application. It's just a set of protocols which connects both the buyer and seeker side. So if anywhere you see that the buyer and seeker mandatorily have to be on the same platform, that's not open network. Open network will facilitate multiple buyer apps, multiple seeker apps to interoperate. Yeah. So with that, moving on, I would like to call our first transformation talk, Jairaj. He is the co-founder and CEO at Cognizant. Jairaj.
So, I'll actually talk about a story today, the story about a private school owner. But before that, a little bit about what we do as Cognizant. So, we have been working on powering DPGs, DPIs with their Samiksha Kendra through a lot of AI-based bots. Right? These bots are primarily distributed digitally top-down. Right? So, the top-down distribution means that it goes to government schools, students, and government school teachers. But what happens is in the community, there are also good private schools and school leaders who notice that these are digital public goods, these are good stuff, right? But we don't have student ID, and we are not able to use it. So Virendra, one of the school owners, called us up and said, we want a bot of our own, right? We want to have a personalized learning bot which we can distribute to our students. We want an assessment bot, we want an attendance bot, which we can distribute to our students and which will allow us to see real-time data, which will allow the students to chat with our role-play bots and learn. But the problem is, a school leader from an affordable private school or a budget private school cannot really afford, and we don't have the capacity to go to the 80 million students in budget private schools and affordable private schools today. So here, we saw Honest as a great solution, right? While there are templates of bots that can be given to private schools, their own bots, right? It will be a QR code and a shareable link. They'll now have their own unique identity, right? So Pradhana Patani will have their own QR code based bots, which they can put it on their books, they can put it on the school, and you just scan it, and here it is. You can start using it, right? But we need 12 to 15,000 rupees per school to enable this infrastructure, these bots as a service. Now, what Honest will allow us to do is to latch on to the Honest network and open these templates and infrastructure. And any one of you could really adopt the school. That's the power that Honest opens up and unlocks. Right? So we put up our bot infrastructure, we put up our content, and a school can just get all of this if anyone can just fund it, right? And they will have their own white-labeled application. Now this need not be just bots, right? It can be apps, applications, any applications. So we can facilitate digital public goods now to private schools, right? By just giving a 10 to 15,000 rupees contribution. And you can really adopt as many schools, right? So the power of network is getting unlocked. And we can be just one platform, you can be another platform, you can all latch on to the Honest network. And there could be financial, educational loans, all of these can be opened up. So for me, Honest has allowed us to open up Virendra to a set of cutting-edge ChatGPT based bots. So I hope that you can also think of other applications. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Gerard. Uh, so whatever he spoke about, you guys have probably already checked out. If you scan the QR code and go to the pledge site, one of the offers for schools is an app from Carnegie Genius site, and there are multiple other categories. In case you guys are looking to pledge something, please take a moment and do that. Contribution starts from as low as 1,000. Please generously look at it and think about it. So whatever he spoke about is actually live today. You can contribute to adopt the school if you want. With that, moving on to the next speaker. Something is wrong with the speaker. Stuck. Shriram, you fix it. Yeah.
Good afternoon. Okay. Thank you and good afternoon. Jairaj ji talked about Honest and its applicability from this particular product perspective and talked about the energy. I'm going to try to paint a picture not so far in the distant future, where once Honest is completely established, how it's going to change the life of aspiring youth in the Indian hinterland. Our Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister said that skilling and education is not about putting money on the pocket of people. It's all about increasing the self-esteem and the self-confidence of the youth. And I personally believe, after having multiple conversations with ex-FNP, that this is exactly what Honest would like. So, so meet Rani, who is a young girl somewhere in the Indian hinterland, born to very middle class parents, not very well educated, self-motivated, wanting to make a mark in this big world and the enormous opportunities that's available in the country as of now. She's an ITI student, has passed out of ITI. She's aspiring to become, looking at all the leaders around, she wants to really become one of them and is looking for opportunities that she can capitalize on, become one of them. And perhaps her ambition would be to come and speak at the 5th or 10th edition of People Plus when it happens in 5 or 10 years, as a leader, right? So that's her ambition and that's what she's aspiring for. Moving on. Previous slide. So she finished ITI, she's looking for avenues for her higher education. She wants to do some additional courses in engineering, something on AI. She heard the expert talking about AI in this conference happening, so she wants to do something around that. And she's able to discover scholarship providers, or which are funded by CSR, coming from enterprises who really want to take care of kids like this. So she's able to get a scholarship, and she gets enabled to go for her higher education. So she goes for the higher education, moving on. And when she's going for higher education, remember, she's from the Indian hinterland. She doesn't know anything about this, area. So she wants to seek out, discover like-minded people with whom she can collaborate and study along with, right? So perhaps this platform will evolve. So in the future stage will allow peer-to-peer collaboration as well in terms of job seekers, etc. So she's able to collaborate with like-minded people and then prepare, right? Then she moves ahead, she finishes that, she goes into the city, she starts exploring multiple job opportunities, and then to the Honest platform that is there, she finds multiple job opportunities and lands into something. She's an IITI kid, she's done some training, she lands into somewhere and then she starts a job. But perhaps that's not the job she really wanted. She's very underwhelmed in terms of what's happening. Is this really what I want to do? When will I come and get a chance to speak at this event 5 years, 10 years from now, and what should I be doing? Then she now looks for further upskilling. And then again, this platform provides her opportunities in terms of upskilling. She goes into some AI-based specific courses. And then she realizes perhaps technical upskilling is not sufficient, I need to get upskilled on soft skills as well. Again, this platform provides her with these opportunities in terms of soft skilling. She understands, and then finally, she lands up in a particular internship. Again, platform provides her opportunities to discover interning opportunities, apprenticeship opportunities, where she can really test her skills and be part of the corporate culture before she really starts entering and earning, putting money in her pocket. She interns, and then she finds a dream job, she starts excelling, and finally perhaps lands up in this event 5 to 10 years later and starts talking about how honest really helped her. A girl from the Indian hinterland, perhaps studied in a Hindi medium school, who doesn't really understand what are the opportunities that are available. If there is a platform that is available, it will make it much easier. In our times, my generation, my parents' generation, we went to cities. My dad went to Kochi to find out opportunities like this, where he could find like-minded people. He could go for a diploma, then he could go for AMI, then he could go for additional training. Then finally, step by step, he became an officer. But we need to create multiple Bangalores or Kochis or Noidas in the internet space. And perhaps that's exactly what Honest is going to provide in the near future. Thank you. And this is the last slide. Okay, that slide went off. But thank you so much. Thanks for hearing.
Yeah.
So I just want to emphasize on this bit once again. Speaking out of turn, but every time we think of Honest or ONDC or any such open network, we should think of, we shouldn't be thinking platforms. There will be many platforms and applications built around the network. Like when you think of internet, you may think Gmail is internet, Google is internet, Facebook is internet, WhatsApp is internet. Yes, they are all internet powered, but internet is invisible. And hence it's unfair to call internet an application or a platform. Internet is just a network that enables all of this to thrive and flourish around it. Just wanted to do that small clarification.
Thanks, Surendra. It's important. So obviously, for somebody to come and search for opportunity, they'll come via a platform, a seeker platform. But the key thing is that it will be one of the many platforms, and it will be interoperable on both seeker and provider side. So that's why we sort of use platform, but always we have to keep that in mind that it's not a platform overall, it's a network which interconnects multiple platforms. So thanks Suren for just bringing that up. Moving on, I will invite Praveen. Praveen is co-founder and chief executive officer of Better Place. And Praveen.
Thank you, Anand, and hi everyone. Unfortunately, I do not have the skills of slides, so next time, honest, I will learn and do that. But I talk through the entire thing. Let me start with the certain numbers so that that stays in our mind. India population is growing 1.4 billion. From the blue collar front line, where I deeply involved, that's roughly 450 million people. Out of that, 150 million people are roughly in some kind of formal or semi-formal economy. Out of that, only 3% people are formally certified in some education or government. Rest all are getting the job done somehow, they come and learn. What is also important to understand is only 1% of the entire population has access to credit and insurance and so on and so forth. The remaining do not have, right? But it's also important to understand that most of the people end up earning only minimum wage, which varies between 12,500 to 15,500, and if you grow in career, might be 18,000, 19,000. That's the situation right now. On the other hand, if you look at the opportunity, right? The opportunity is that every organization is looking for people who are skilled, trusted, right? Verified. Interestingly, it's not in India. People outside India, like in Dubai, like Neom, Saudi, Singapore, even in France, Europe, UK, they're looking for people coming out of India, or perhaps Philippines, other countries as well, but largely coming there. So that's the opportunity. And 2/3 of the economy, as we all know, will happen in the global south by 2030, and India will be leading by far even China plus one strategy coming in. Now, why I'm saying all those things? I'm saying all those things because the only problem that I foresee is ensuring everyone at the bottom of the pyramid has access to opportunity. Take example of a security guard. Right? There are 75 lakh private security guards in India today. They typically come from manpower supplying states, which are Assam, Odisha, Bihar, UP, and so on. And the demand is largely tier 1, tier 2 cities. Right? Most of the people, I come from Assam, right? And in Assam, if I'm in a village in Tejpur, in a particular village, I have no idea where is the job. And then I come somehow to Bangalore, and I do the security guard job, and I continue to do the security guard job entire life without knowing what is a guard job, because I'm not trained in the right way of doing it. Moreover, there is no data, so I need loan, because I have to pay the salary of or the school fee of my kid. I do not know how to get it. And might be I borrow it from someone at let's say 50% interest rate, 70% interest rate, and so on and so forth. But imagine now there is a platform where everyone is coming together, creating the right skilling content, right? And it's happening in bits and pieces, right? There are a lot of activities happening, but it's not organized, it's not happening at scale, it's not moving the needle, right? We are happy doing 1,000, 2,000, 10,000, 1 lakh, 10 lakh people, but the size is 1 crore, 2 crore, 5 crore, 10 crore, 50 crore people, right? So if we bring all those things together in one single platform, on the other hand, if there are employers, be it in India, be it in Dubai, be it in Singapore, they can all access it. The biggest challenge is the trust. If the platform brings the trust, which is trust in terms of my credentials, my knowledge, my background, and so on, it's ready to access it. And trust is what a bank needs to give the know. So if we can create this entire system where everyone participates, and then we can unleash the potential which is there. On one hand, the providers come together, give the knowledge which is required. On the other hand, the individuals can come and access everything, right? Like the security guard. So what we did, we created a skilling platform. Right? Last year we trained 1.8 million people. This year we will be doing 2.5 million people. Our goal is to touch 50 million people by 26-27. Last month we launched a financial product where we bring all kinds of data within our system and we give loan. Last month we launched it. We gave it to 80,000 people in the first month. Right? Now imagine if we all come together and create one democratized environment, how powerful that would be. And I strongly believe honest is a big step towards that, because each one of us, every one of us can come into the platform, bring all sorts of activities that we are doing, bring the data that is there, create the power, one joint kind of credential system besides the content, access, and other things. And we can perhaps touch lives of 10 million, 20 million, 100 million people over the next 5 years. That would be the power that we should think of. Scale in this entire process is the most important thing. And the second most important thing in my view is the collaboration. And I appreciate the effort. We are absolutely excited about this, and we will start partnering immediately. And I look forward to see you all on this platform going forward. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Gauri. Thanks for the kind words. In the interest of time, I'll move fast. I will now quickly invite Sujit. Sujit, please come. Sujit has some exciting transformation story to share with us.
Thank you, Anand. Wow, it's wonderful to see a room full for a session on open networks. I thought AI and lifelong learning will probably beat us up to it, but so happy that we have Nancy Koshi at the back. It's fascinating that the idea of open networks, conversation that, of course, we all know open networks, the ONDC largely, and then we have some stories going in Bangalore with Ramaya 3. But to see that we are also talking about open networks for learning today with honors, which is fascinating and great to be. And the same idea is finding its place across many sectors. And honors, we just heard some fascinating stories across the lifelong learning life cycle of a learner. I'm going to probably switch gears and switch to another sector, which is not retail, which is not commerce, which is not mobility, probably not even learning. But I talk about taking this way of thinking, this open networks way of thinking, where you have the consumer and the provider, whether it's of learning, commerce, mobility, actually on two different platforms. Consumers on some other platform, providers on on another platform. There's nobody in the center and yet finding each other to do a fulfilled transaction. We just saw some use cases now on learning, but Anand has asked me to take you through a story in energy, in the space of energy, EV charging, and that's one of the examples. Is a small video of an actual live implementation of this idea of open networks using the same underlying protocols of Beckett to see how in this new sector that is emerging there, everybody is talking about EV adoption and we will all eventually be using some EV vehicle or the other. How do we discover the EV charging stations? And for the early beginnings itself that the country is seeing, we already have over 30 EV charging companies in India, each offering their own solution. Imagine you downloading 30 apps before you take off to your holiday on an EV car to find the next charging station. Yeah, that's not the nightmare you want to live with. Right? So imagine from your dashboard of a car or from the one thing that we all seem to be using, WhatsApp, finding an EV charging station irrespective of which platform offers it and engaging with it. So that's the story that the video will unravel. And you can just bring it up. And this is a story.
The Unified Energy Interface is an open, peer-to-peer decentralized network for energy transactions. One of the first implementations of UEI is in the EV charging space. In this demonstration, we will see how to The Unified Energy Interface is an open, peer-to-peer decentralized network for energy transactions. One of the first implementations of UEI is in the EV charging space. In this demonstration, we will see how two independent platforms are enabling the discovery and order flow to charge an electric vehicle at a charging station near him using an open network. Akhil uses the Pulse Energy WhatsApp bot to search and book his charging point for his vehicle. He invokes the bot by typing hi. He sees a prompt to share his location, which he is able to share via WhatsApp. Akhil is also prompted to share the type of vehicle and he selects three-wheeler. The app searches for all available three-wheeler EV charging stations near Akhil's location via the beacon-enabled open network and receives responses from the charging platforms on the network. Akhil sees the list of charging stations from nearest to farthest. He selects the preferred charger and he sees a prompt to enter the amount for which he needs the charger. Akhil needs 10 rupees worth of charging time. The bot offers him the options of paying via WhatsApp Pay or a third-party payment gateway. Akhil selects the payment gateway option, which provides him a link to make the payment. Akhil follows the payment process and pays using his credit card. Once the payment is successful, he sees that he is able to connect his vehicle to the charger. When the vehicle is connected and charging begins, he clicks the connected button on WhatsApp, and he is shown the latest status of charging, which has been sent from the charging platform via the open network. After the charge session is done, Akhil disconnects his vehicle from the charger and the transaction is complete. Thus, a transaction between a WhatsApp bot and an independent charge point operator has been enabled on an open network leveraging open protocols.
See a startup which is also a volunteer in the open source community, which is actually live. So they do have a bot through which you can identify not just one, but pretty much all participating charging providers. And what you just saw is from WhatsApp, which is a different platform altogether, a bot from WhatsApp, to finding every charging point operator on different platforms through an open network, and then finding the one of your choice and engaging with it. Pretty much like how we saw some of the examples where somebody searching for scholarships, somebody searching for any sort of aid and internship jobs and things like that. So how do we reimagine this open network way of thinking from education, commerce to energy? I hope you're all getting a hang of open networks today, what it is and probably what it's not. Definitely not one platform, we're talking about a network of platforms selling together. Yeah? Thank you.
Thank you, Sujit. I find this personally very exciting because world is moving towards electric vehicles, and while sort of that density increases, we would have some solutions, networks like this already there. So, we are sort of preempting it and having things ready so that the world doesn't have to struggle. So, very exciting. Moving on to the next one. How many of you are here from Bangalore? Just a quick show of hands. Fantastic. So, those who are not, there's an interesting story coming up next. I think those from Bangalore would already know. So, I will invite Shan, Chief Growth Officer at Namayatri, Jaspet. Yeah.
Keep it very quick and crisp. So the open network that we have been talking about enabled one of the interesting use cases in mobility. If you look at mobility as a use case, on one side, people would like us who have benefited significantly from technology, which has been growing at 100x, 1000x improvement. On the other side, you have drivers who have to work 12 hours, 14 hours every day to get their earning. So while technology can scale very fast, the entire people aspect needs the strong empathy. The empathy not just from the drivers to the customers, but from the customers to the drivers. ONDC as a network which has enabled product like Namayatri to scale, I think we would call this as scaling empathy, because this open network is enabling empathy to be exchanged between both the drivers and the customers. Just to give you a flavor of what Namayatri is actually a combination of three things. It's technology, and the drivers need to be empowered and enabled. And last but not the least is about open community coming together and working. This is a video which was shot by some of our folks, even folks, it was not doctored. He can play, I don't know if he can play, and it was very organic. How it turned out is a good example of how the open network can enable.
ಜಾರಿ ಬೀಳದೆ ಮೆಲ್ನಡಿ ನಾನು ನೀನೇ ಹೊಸ ಜೋಡಿ ನಾನು ನೀನು ಜೋಡಿ.
ನಾವೇನ್ ಕಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅದು ಪ್ರತಿಫಲ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಯಾತ್ರೆಯಿಂದ.
ನಮ್ಮ ಯಾತ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಳಿಲಿ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಹಾರೈಸ್ತೀವಿ.
ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ನಮ್ಮ ಯಾತ್ರೆನ ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಷ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ಏನ್ ಪ್ರತಿಫಲ ಸಿಗಬೇಕು ಅದು ಸಿಕ್ಕೇ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಯಾತ್ರೆನ ಬೆಳೆಸೋಣ ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗ್ಲು.
ಕಸ್ಟಮರ್ಗೂ ಹ್ಯಾಪಿ, ನಮಗೂ ಹ್ಯಾಪಿ.
ನಮ್ಮ ಯಾತ್ರೆ ಆಲ್ ದಿ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್.
So it's raw, direct from the drivers, and it was possible because I think one, the open network. So we'll talk about how. Can move to the next slide. See, essentially, we can keep moving. So first theme is around entrepreneurs. We call it entrepreneurs because essentially, like entrepreneurs being highlighted so much. Actually, these guys, everything, right? It's in their control, right? To an extent, the closed platforms made it the entire aspect of their agency, their free will, etc., kind of being affected to some extent. So the concept of Namayatri is to kind of bring all these things back to them. One is, apart from the higher earnings, they should get the respect of them operating their own business, and then the agency of deciding what kind of business to do, and to some extent things like the product features and the pricing in their control. The second part is the participative tech development. It's not like, okay, we sit in a room and then decide all the features or what needs to be built in Namayatri. It's about involving drivers in every aspect of the product, not just the drivers and the other side customers. I think as a tech company, right, we're all used to doing customer service, etc., but do we really involve the drivers? In fact, the drivers say, okay, I want the UI to be like this. We have felt that some of the drivers are so smart in terms of giving the right kind of product involvement. So I think this is one of the examples of how we have done it. And the third thing is, when you're talking about an open community, what is very important is having a very inclusive approach, right? Be it the women drivers. I'm not going to steal the show from Shanti on the entire purple, and that's why the color is also purple. Involving people with disability into the entire ecosystem of using the app as well. So the open community aspect kind of brings that entire inclusive approach. The fourth part is the community of happy drivers and happy customers as well. So consistently, our customers say that they had a better ride experience because the drivers feel happier. So it's not like, while I think we are all very proud of UPI and how things are significantly changed in UK, but UK is a system-to-system talking. Whereas in ONDC and Honest, right, there are people involved, there are software aspects involved. So that's why I think the entire empathy part of one human to the another human talking and interacting, how this kind of can be enabled through a very open network is very, very critical. But not just this, I think we also feel that, yeah, sorry, so fast. The last part is the open philosophy, like from backend protocol to the ONDC network to keeping all the data open so that everybody in the ecosystem can learn about what's happening and then can contribute. I think it's a great growth story. A lot of thanks to backend and ONDC, so they have significantly supported, but we do around 1 lakh trips per day, and that's roughly around 20-25% of annual demand. The company within 6 to 9 months of growth, it's been possible only because of community coming together, drivers embracing this as their app, and the entire city thinking that okay, we will be open and we will not be closed as well. Right? It's all a slightly different mindset as well. And Bangalore has set the example for a lot of other cities in India, and the entire data is available for everybody to see as well. So there, I think open network, like Honest, can make a big difference in every sector as well. And I mean, it's a great opportunity for us to kind of take time and then think about what can be done as well. I would like to conclude by thanking everyone.
Thank you so much, Shan. I would now, so Shan already hinted at what's coming next. How many of you have heard the term purple economy? Nobody? So with that I invite Shanti to tell you all about it.
So first of all, thank you so much for this. Before I get started, Shan, we have to say, in your top 5% of Namayatri, who is the main person? That lady whom you saw, she spent almost 1 lakh on Namayatri till now, and she is a person with vision impairment. Okay, so if you can just go to the next slide. Yeah. So I want to talk to you today about unlocking the purple economy through really open networks, not platforms. I know the difference. Yeah, and for this I need to tell you a little bit about Enable India. We've actually enabled value for a person with disability through the lens of economic independence. And in this, what we've been able to do is make the person with disability a valued employee, a taxpayer, an active citizen of the country. From this whole experience, what we, for example, if I give an example, we have been able to answer questions like, what will you pay a person who can't move any part of their body? And can that person have a career? The answer is yes. And if you say that they can earn around 20 lakhs per annum, you would be right. Because that is the kind of question we have answered. Because the lens is of value. The person can be a valued person if you have the right solutions. With this, we just looked around and said, why is disability an afterthought? And why are people not thinking about disability? For this, we went back to history and really looked at the 13th century. How many people were in classes here? Yeah, you'll have to all confess. So, in the 13th century, I want you to know you would have been considered visually impaired. Okay? And till the 19th century, you would not have been considered of any value, though lenses had already been invented. You would have been an afterthought, and we would have told you that you're an inspiration. You're a role model. But all you wanted was just a solution so that you could go around with your business. But today we know, if you can go to the next slide, that actually it's a $169 billion industry, the global eyewear industry, and you are no longer even considered in the disabilities category. So today the others, who are not in the eyewear, all of us here, the numbers are here to see 1.3 billion plus. It's almost 150 million plus folks in India with some form of disability or difficulty, though that's not what the census represents, and an $8 trillion economy which is waiting to be unleashed. So this is what we feel is the purple economy. The purple economy is a disabled-led economy. Thank you, Sujit, for telling that word. Purple is a color for disability. So if I just go, if you can go to the next slide. Yeah. So if I just talk to you about Renu, here is a story of a positive case study, but Renu is a real example of somebody who actually, at the age of 12, had an accident and became a person with disability and lost years, not even knowing that she could actually get an assistive aid. And instead of that, in today's situation, with with unleashing open networks, she should be able to immediately connect with healthcare providers. And immediately, vendors should be falling over and actually saying, hey, I can supply you a prosthetic or I can supply you a wheelchair. And the most important thing is she didn't even know that she actually can, improve her ability even with her prosthetic device. And that is where, Honest comes in, where there could be different, folks, different platforms providing activities for daily living by which you can enhance your skill and actually, become less disabled because of that. And then, employment, finance, all these things open up. And legal assistance which tells you that you are a valuable citizen for the country. You can go to the next. And actually, daily living should be possible for somebody like Renu. Adaptive clothing. I can wear a clothing with Velcro so that it's easy for me. The accessible autos which we're doing with Amaya 3, accessible charging points. Thank you, Sujit, for mentioning that. So all of these things would be possible for Renu today, not what her situation was before this. So if we now look at it, so therefore if you can just go to the next slide. This is how we expect that the purple economy will get unleashed because of open networks. And you can kind of see that the service providers are context aware. And if I just read what Anirban told me, he just mentioned that actually the data objects like tags, providers, the protocol will get, so I'm just telling you from that, I can't even say this otherwise, yeah? So the protocol will get aware of the special needs of persons with disability, and we've already started this step with different folks here already. And if I just go to the next slide, because of this, purple economy today looks like this, where the supply curve, there is no supply, the suppliers are not aware that this opportunity exists. And there is a lack of discoverability, and therefore there is high, unit production cost. And the consumers are dormant. They're not even expecting that any of you even think of the person with disability as a consumer. So they are dormant, and they are not even being discovered by the suppliers. And that is why open networks means a lot to us. None of this would have been possible unless people are discoverable, and technology is the game changer. It will reduce transaction cost and production cost, and built-in incentives are very easy. What are we trying? The purple badge and purple, we are trying things for the drivers to feel like we are doing something special for persons with disabilities. So if I just go to my last slide, I don't need to tell you all the words in open networks, like unbundling, etc. But for us, it is about creating service abundance. And it is a new economy, and like Ashish mentioned earlier, we have to look at it from an economic angle, and we see a huge potential for 15% more types of folks in India. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Open Networks. You rock.
Thank you so much. I am very cognizant of the time and that I am keeping you guys from lunch. So I will try to, combine a couple of agendas and make sure we get along faster. Okay. So two things. One is all of you will see a card like this on your table. Just grab a card. And the way we witnessed some of these transformation stories, I would urge all of you to think through what in your context is an incomplete story. What are the challenges which exist, which can be unlocked to complete that story? And jot down that thought. The other thing which I would urge is also, if you look at the agenda on your desk, there's a QR code, right? If you scan that QR code, there are a bunch of things. Many of you have already seen it. But if you see, there is a pledge at the top. If you scroll, there are these breakouts, lifelong learning breakout, open networks breakout. If you go there, it will open a Mentimeter. In case there are any thoughts which came to your mind, listening to all the speakers, any questions, you can put it there. So those are the two things. You can put your thoughts here, and please fill that card with, in your context, what's the story. Let's take like 5 minutes to do that.